Hello everyone, I'm Alvin Jarreau of the Jarreau Effect Live, and this interview is a must-watch TV. So, there's a term on social media, and the term is high-value man. A high-value man is a person who brings value to his family, community, and business. And Mr. Dion of Ties by Dion is a perfect example of a high-value man. So, before I get this interview started, just tell everyone about yourself, man.
Well, first and foremost, thank you for that glowing introduction. You- and just thank you for allowing me to be a part of your show as well as your YouTube uh, channel today. Pretty much, I am the designer and tailor for a business called Ties by Dion. We are based our home base was in Gary, Indiana, as well as Mobile, Alabama. I've been tailoring professionally for about 13 years. And I got my start here in Mobile, Alabama, doing it surprisingly enough. But the vision and the birth of Ties by Dion actually started when I was 8 years old in my home city of Gary, Indiana. My mom taught me how to sew as a child. And if you fast forward 20 years later after being 8 years old, that was when I picked up a sewing machine and decided to do it for professional purposes.
Wow, so always been a guy into fashion.
Okay.
Just tell me how fashion just makes you feel.
Well, I will definitely tell you and preface this by saying this was something that I had to grow into. It wasn't something that just instantly happened. Those that were around me, they said that I did have a liking towards fashion, but I didn't see it until I hit my senior year of high school. Um, at that time, I was just looking at different colors and seeing how could I take this texture or how could I take this fabric and mesh it with this. And that was when I started to really get into the whole process of just mixing colors and seeing what would flow and what wouldn't flow. And I will say that I think that started the relationship of me spending a lot of money on designer products. But as you get older, you start to realize that it's not about the designer aspect, but it's just pretty much how can you put it all together. So it's been something that has just taken time to get to.
Okay, so tell me about the process of becoming a fashion designer and starting your fashion business.
Well, the thing about me is that I am not formally trained. I didn't go to FIT, which is Fashion Institute of Technology. I didn't go there, but it was something that, you know, it was just placed on me. So the whole process of me becoming a fashion designer was just, uh, you could say it was just the timing and people having a need and a want for a product. I will say my first bow ties that I did sell were from Thea Bowman Leadership Academy up north in Indiana. And there was a lady by the name of Lisa Garrett. She invested in my product and she spoke abundance over my gift.
Okay.
And she told me, she said that, you know what, you're going to be able to, this is going to open up doors for you. And she's gone on to glory right now, but I always think about her and I think about other individuals who have really spoke that onto me. And it was just a thing that I just said, okay, let me arrive to that expectation. Um, People that know me normally know that back in the day I was very, very shy and timid. So my escape was creativity. In the Boys and Girls Club, everybody was playing basketball, swimming. Me, I would run to the art room to go color. I would run and just play with string and make friendship bracelets and things of that nature. So that was my beginning process of coming into fashion. And then when the timing met the opportunity, I was already there. So it wasn't a thing that I knew instantly. It was just something that God was preparing me at 8 for what was going to happen at 28.
Okay.
And when from 28 happened to now I'm 40 years old, it's like, oh. So I tell anybody, be careful what you ask for because you're going to get it. But also, too, my biggest thing and my biggest prayer was that, Lord, prepare me for the blessing. because a
Wow.
lot of people, they get there and they have that celebrity backing, but they're not prepared for it. So that has been my biggest keynote.
What you just said, there's a term kind of for that. It's
Okay.
called bamboo growth.
Mm,
You know, you not there yet, but the Lord is building you and
absolutely.
preparing you for when you
Absolutely.
get there, you will stay
Absolutely.
there and you will go far.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So tell me how you overcame being shy, you know?
Oh, wow. Well, I thank my sister Latanya.
Mhm.
Uh, by me staying in Gary, Indiana, we were only roughly about a half an hour away from Chicago. She would purposely take me out of my element every weekend, exposing me to different cultures, exposing me to different areas, diasporas, going downtown. And through that, I was able to just see different people, different walks of life. And it eased the trepidation. And by me moving to the South,
Okay.
I had a paradigm shift. I had a change of moment where I just said, you know what? I am tired of staying in the same area. And once I moved here, that was one of the bravest things that I could have ever done. And, that forced me to step outside of my box.
Okay. So we were just talking before we started this interview.
Hmm.
We were talking about you were also a journalist. So before we get back to your styling business, your ties by Dion,
Uh-huh.
let's talk about what made you become a journalist and tell me who you talked for and stuff in the past.
Well, I would say it was for uh, an organization called BRTO Films, and it was based by a young guy by the name of Tanashi Nyatenga, and he is in Hollywood right now doing some great things. That's my buddy, but he formulated a group where it was me, Andy Chavez, as well as a couple of other individuals, and for his projects, he would set up interviews with celebrities throughout the course of their music videos. And I will say that one of my major interviews that I did was with Big Crit uh, for the I Got This video in Meridian, Mississippi. I do have a background in communication. My degree is in organizational communication from Indiana University. So studying journalism as well as studying organizational flows and business as well, that prepared me for what I'm doing right now, because you have to have interpersonal skills in dealing with people, especially when it comes to selling them neckwear. And also too, what it does, college prepares you not just to, do papers and to study, but it prepares you to have proper time management skills. And in essence, you're trying to have and build connections with people in the future as well too. I met a lot of great mentors in college. Professor Porter, he passed on. He was a great communication professor, so he's helped me down throughout the years too.
Okay, so you said you tailor. You've tailored
Hmm.
before.
Absolutely.
Who and what organizations have you probably tailored,
Well, locally, I've been able to tailor some of the members of the MAMG organization.
Okay.
Also, too, if you want to talk about more or less from an international standpoint, I have been able to service and provide neckwear for the ambassador of Ireland. That connection happened through a store called Moss and Hoffman, and
Mm.
they needed a tie that was in Kelly green, the color Kelly green, and they needed it immediately. So that was my first uh, pretty much major commission that I had. And also too, uh, I was able to make neckwear for the representative by the name of Brian Banks,
Mhm.
former Congressman Brian Banks. So the thing of it is that Instagram, as well as social media, having that platform, that really helped out tremendously in connecting with people outside of the region of Mobile. And I will say that if you have that social utility, try and use it to the best that you can.
Right. Right. Okay. So, let me talk about this. You know, there's a lot of people who probably want to start business and
Okay.
have a clothing line or just know how to present themselves when it comes to business. So tell me about your brand management throughout that whole process to get a congressman to buy from you and to support you, to get, you know, an international designer to, you know.
Okay. Well, I will tell you that it wasn't a straight line path towards that. It wasn't something that, like I said before, me being in fashion or even being a tailor, it wasn't something that I pre-planned. But I will tell you this, you have to be a great worker first before you say that you want to be a great entrepreneur or a great leader. I think that people have got a ambiguous standpoint of what being an entrepreneur is. It's a lot of time that you have to dedicate towards your process. Learn your craft. Before I even was able to present my items to those types of ambassadors and different individuals that were higher up, I had to make sure that I learned my craft first. I had to study it. I spent time combing through magazines and just actually making sure that I learned the process of sewing first before I even put my product out there. It wasn't a whole thing of, yeah, I got a tie, I'm gonna go ahead and post it on Instagram. I made sure that I went to tailors, even my mom, because she is a big stickler on making sure that everything is sharp and tailored. I said, look, dissect this. Let me know what's wrong with it. And going through those different types of systems, I was able to be confident in my brand and just posting it on Instagram and tagging various people. It all starts with a hashtag. You know, we think that it's just this great panacea moment, but it starts with a hashtag.
Starts with a hashtag.
Yeah.
Okay,
And a
so
quality product. A quality product. That's what I would definitely tell you.
awesome, awesome. So let's talk about, you know, being a well-dressed man.
Okay.
Tell
Okay.
me the way you're treated. You know, I just had an interview recently with the head barber freshened me up,
Yeah.
Mr. Travis, and he told me
Absolutely.
when you dress the part, you act the part, you smell good, you get treated with respect. You know, it puts you in the top percent of men. So tell me your experience with that.
Well, you know, proper dress, you know, creating a uniform for yourself. And your uniform could be a suit and tie every day, or it could just be a polo shirt or a pair of khakis. The thing of it is that you're making sure that you go the extra mile. Instead of just, you know, coming out with it tumbled, take the time to iron your clothing. Um, you know, and even with that being said too, it doesn't hurt to just invest in a great fragrance. You know, that's key. But I will say this too, you're talking to somebody that does believe in making sure that people can be well groomed without spending a lot of money. People think that you have to purchase and spend a lot of money on designer. You don't have to do that. If anything, that's telling me that you can't dress when you have to rely on just designer only. Seek out those people like you that you can dress very well,
Thanks.
you know, other people within the community, and just call them and say, hey, I need a couple of tips. How does this look? You know,
That's
use
big.
the mirror to your advantage.
That's big.
Use the mirror to your advantage. If you feel that you're overdressed, Coco Chanel says one thing. She says, take off one thing before you leave the house. And you know, I find myself doing that and following that moniker rule. Or not only that, it's just make sure that whatever you put on is a reflection of who you are. What I wear, I've never wanted it to be a costume. And when I see a costume, you've seen them wear something and it just doesn't translate well, but they're following a trend. You have to follow what's best for you.
Awesome.
So you really have to follow what's best for you.
That's great. So one more question.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Just tell me, you know, I just said high value man before I started this interview. Tell me your take. What is a high value man to you?
Well, I will say a high value man, it's not, this is just the finished product. Dressing is that's just the finished product. A high value man, it takes years of and when I think of high value, I'm thinking of somebody with substance, somebody that has depth, somebody that has a knack and a need to make sure that they are taking care of their responsibilities. That makes you a high value man. It's not about the raiment or the clothing that we're wearing. You know, you could be out here wearing a green vest with reflectors on it. As long as you're taking care of your
Yeah.
responsibility, that's what I view as being a high value man. It's not about the raiment. The thing of it is that we find designers and tailors that'll say, hey, I need you to dress my husband up. He's always in scrubs, or he always may be in that. That's a pleasure for me. That was why I created Ties by Dion, because I felt that African American men were not given the platform to have a custom and a couture experience. So that's my motto, creating an experience for our clients. And that's for each and every client, each and every race. So the thing of it is that if you're coming to seek me out for a service, you better know that it's going to be an experience for you. I'm going to sit down, I'm going to bring my suitcase with me, we're going to go over some things, and we're going to have a nice consultation. So you can be a high value man without wearing a suit. High value means that do you have a love for your community? Do you have a love for your children? Is it real? You got to have substance in this thing. You have to. You really do. I mean, we're getting to a point right now, you're going to realize who was gold and who was gold plated. That's a high value man, a golden man, somebody who's been tested and they still come out on top and they shine brighter.
Speechless. Y'all heard it, man. Y'all heard it, man. Please share this video to someone, man. This may really help someone. We need more leaders in our community. You know, we're in a time where negativity,
Absolutely.
being negative is amazing.
It's a norm. It's a
So,
norm.
so we have to change being negative. Let's make being positive cool.
Absolutely.
Let's make a man dressing good, smelling good, being a leader, knowing what he wants out of life, focusing on his purpose. Let's make that being cool.
Absolutely.
Once we make that being cool, we are in a better place.
Absolutely.
We're in a better place. So thank you, Mr. Dion.
Absolutely. Thank you, Alvin. Thank you for this
I really enjoyed
platform.
this interview. You've taught me something.
I hope so.
Like I said, learn something of value every day. I just learned something of value. I hope you learn something of value. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. The Jarreau Effect Live, High Fashion Entertainment. Thank you.
All right. Awesome.
Hey.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much.